This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast.
Stay right here for our final news roundup and information overload in the final hour of the Sean Hannity Show.
If this election is about how we're going to fight to get nothing done, then I don't want any part of it. I don't want to be elected president to sit around and see gridlock just become so dominant that people literally are in decline in their lives. That is not my motivation. I got a lot of really cool things that I could do other than sit around being miserable, listening to people demonize me and me feeling compelled to demonize them. That is a joke. Elect Trump if you want that.
That was Jeb Bush over the weekend, and it has gotten a lot of play. Joining us now, he is the Republican frontrunner by a pretty significant margin still, now well over 100 days in the lead, is Donald Trump, businessman. I think you'll be happy with a poll that came out today. Nearly more than three quarters of Republicans want an outsider to get the nomination. Mr. Trump, how are you?
Hi, Sean. How are you?
That is a huge number. This is a very different year. You studied the art of the deal. I've studied the art of politics my entire life, and I can't equate any other time in history with what's happening now.
Well, Sean, people are very dissatisfied with the incompetent leadership that we have in Washington and elsewhere, frankly, and they're tired of it. They're just exhausted, and they're tired of it. They see the Iran deal, which you know as well as anybody. We don't have to go over the 24 days and all the points, the $150 billion that Iran gets. But they look at the Iran deal. They look at the Sergeant Bergdahl deal, 5 for 1, and the one is a traitor. They look at everything we do is not good. They look at our trade deals with China and Japan and Mexico. They look at the border, how it's a porous border and executive orders all over the place. I mean, take a look at a point that you bring up all the time on your show is the almost 100 million people that are out of the workforce, the 40 million and 50 million people that are on essentially welfare. You remember that used to be called welfare.
Food stamps and poverty.
But right now it's poverty, and you look at that and you see what's going on, and I think they're very tired of what's been given to them by politicians who really are, if you think about it, Sean, they're all talk, no action. And that's what... they're
going to raise the debt ceiling again, and I'm looking at, we got, what? Well, this president will accumulate more debt than every other president before him combined. We have unfunded liabilities. All these people put their money into Social Security. What they don't know, it's already been stolen. There's no lockbox. They didn't put the money away as they promised. And yeah, government has failed them. And these problems are, to me, at times, in my mind, I wonder if they're insurmountable because of the culture that is rotting in D.C., which is the same old go along, get along, nobody challenge the status quo. Look at the Republicans. They're weak. They're timid. They're afraid. They surrender more than they ever fight. It's disgraceful.
Well, it is, and I will say this. You talk about the debt ceiling, and I heard Speaker Boehner the other day say, we will never close up the government. Now, if he means that, it's one thing, but why do you have to say it? Because when you say that, you have given President Obama and all of the Democrats, there's no fear. You've taken away your number one negotiating tactic or point in order to get all the other things that you want to get, like cuts, et cetera, et cetera. But when you go out and just say, and I was so surprised to see it, that we will not do the thing that they most are afraid of, as you can well imagine, you've given away everything. You've just given away everything.
But what I don't understand, maybe you can help me with this, is we have separation of powers, co-equal branches of government, enumerated powers. The one enumerated power Congress has is the power of the purse. If they want to defund Obamacare, they can do it. If they want to defund illegal, unconstitutional executive amnesty, they can do it. Now, when Boehner said he was going to resign, I said, bring Newt back. Newt Gingrich shut the government. I don't blame him. The government got shut down twice. It never really gets shut down. 75% of people always work. Everybody always gets paid. But he ended up leaving with the last balanced budget, the last surplus. He reformed welfare in a positive way. He was a consequential leader and speaker and visionary. And I don't see that there now.
Well, Newt is a great guy, I will say that, and I've known him over the years. I actually got to know him over the last 5 years, probably much more so, and he did a very good job. I think people are starting to appreciate Newt right now more than when he was there, to be honest, because I think when he was there, he wasn't appreciated like he is right now. But he's a great guy. I don't know, they seem to have agreed on Ryan. It looks like Ryan, who is a very nice man. I know him, and I like him as a person, but he's weak, as you know, on illegal immigration, which which is a big pet project of mine, and it's a pet peeve because you see what's going on with all of the problems that it's bringing, and it's bringing tremendous problems. And he's very weak on that, as is Carson, and as is Rubio, by the way, and as is Bush. Bush said, they come for love, okay, and it's an act of love. So it's not an act of love.
Is it beginning to sink in? I'm looking at all the poll numbers, and I look at, for example, New Hampshire, you're up 38-12 in first place there. There's at least 5 New Hampshire polls that you're up. When you look at your numbers nationally, I mean, you had one poll last week that was 32, Carson 22. You had another poll where you're 24-17, 28-16. These are all national polls, New Hampshire polls. You're even winning in Massachusetts, for crying out loud, which cracks me up. I wouldn't have predicted
48.
that.
I think I have 48 in Massachusetts. I've never seen that.
It is pretty fun. But 27, 22, CNN, ORC, 25, 22, 28, 18. So you're winning nationally. The only issue or state you're having a little bit of a problem in now, and the polls have come out, is in Iowa. But nationally, South Carolina, New Hampshire, you're just dominating.
Well, I think I'll do well in Iowa, too, because, I'm going there actually tomorrow. I think we'll do well in Iowa. It's going to be interesting because, I love the people. We have an amazing relationship to the people in Iowa. So I was actually surprised to see the poll where I'm a little bit down, and I am in second place, as you know. A lot of people would say, second place is good. I don't like second place. But I think
wait a minute. Donald Trump doesn't like second place. I'm shocked.
I think we'll do very well. I mean, no, people would have said 3 months ago, if I was in second place in Iowa, that's like a victory, but I don't consider it a victory. I've done well with the evangelicals, and I'm doing well with them, very well, and nationwide I'm doing great with them, and the Tea Party and all of this, and I don't know, I think we're going to surprise people in Iowa, frankly. I think we're going to do better than the polls are showing. And
if you look over history, though, Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum won the last 2 go-rounds there, and it has a very strong evangelical base, and it has not been a predictor of who the nominee will be.
Well, it would be helpful if you could win and go into New Hampshire with a win. It would be a beautiful thing to see, and I'd like to see if I can do it. And we're going to work hard in Iowa. We have I just got back from New Hampshire. We did the Today Show live from New Hampshire.
Yeah, I watched it this morning.
Yeah, and they were, it was really good, and the people up there were you saw the turnout. I mean, the turnout at 7 in the morning was
I saw the turnout in Florida this weekend. What did you have, 25,000 people there?
Yeah, we had 20,000 people. It was an amazing event, and it was in Jacksonville, Florida, and we had a great event. And then we had one at Doral, which is in Miami, which is my place, Trump National Doral. We had an incredible turnout. It was probably 80% Hispanic, and it was only standing ovations. It was incredible. So we're getting tremendous spirit and tremendous turnouts, and what can I say other than you have been so great?
I would argue that I've just been fair to you, and I've given you an opportunity to speak. And I watch you as you've been going along. To me, you're growing into the art of politics, which is it's not an easy task. It's different from the art of the deal. I think I've actually mentioned this to you. And I noticed that what did you think of Jeb Bush's comments? Well, I could be doing better things. Or Ben Carson, when you criticized him for being low energy, he said, well, I'm a brain surgeon. I can stand on my feet for 18 hours. What do you make of?
Well, the standing on his feet for 18 hours, and so could I, and, maybe doing something else. It's a different kind of energy that we're talking about. We need energy where we can make better trade deals, and we need a much different kind of energy than we have right now. And I thought, Ben's statement, wasn't really pertinent to what we're talking about, and Jeb almost feels like he's defeated, like it's over. And maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is. I think he was probably favored initially if you go back 4 or 5 months. And don't forget, 4 months ago, I was...
that was a pretty shocking statement he said when he said, I could be doing really cool things, instead of being president.
Well, then he went to see his mother and father and because he wants advice. And, that's not what the people want. When you're dealing with Putin and you're dealing with all these people and killers and all the people you have to deal with, you got to move quickly and you have to be nimble. And I was surprised. A lot of people are surprised by that step. It was almost like he's getting out of the race, if you want to know the truth. And
when I was watching this morning, it keeps coming back up, the issue of that you have said anybody that entered this country illegally and didn't respect our laws and sovereignty has to go back, and that you'd expedite the process and bring them bring them back, those that are law-abiding, that want to be a part of our country and contribute. Now, the numbers are staggering. We have Governor Abbott of Texas on later. The Texas Department of Public Safety pointed out that foreign aliens committed 611,000 unique crimes in Texas between 2008 and 2014. That includes thousands of homicide. And between those very same years, if you look at the murder rates in Florida and Texas, Arizona, California, criminal aliens account for 38% of all murder convictions, and they're 5.6% of the population.
Right.
Why do we as a nation, why do people get outraged at the idea that you're saying, go back, and if you have been a law-abiding citizen, you can come back legally?
Right.
And everyone freaks out. Why?
Well, if you notice, when I said that this morning in New Hampshire, I got a tremendous ovation. It was one of the biggest ovations I had was when I said, have to go out, and we're going to come back, and we're going to expedite, because, you know, that's fair. They've been here for a long time. Some of them have been here very, very long, and they've done fine, and some have done great. Some have done really good. They've been great people to be in the country, and we expedite. But, you know, Sean, you have tremendous bad ones. You have a lot of the gangs in L.A. and you have many, many illegal, and they used to say aliens. I've never used that word, actually. I've never liked that word. And I hear now it's politically correct anyway. So for the first time, I'm okay with political correct. But I call it illegal immigration, illegal immigrants. You have a lot of them here in gangs, and you have a lot of them that are really tough dudes, and we got to get them out. And we're going to get them out so fast your head will spin. You will be so amazed. Even you will be so amazed how fast they
What does
out.
that mean, even you, Hannity? Even you.
Because, I mean, you've been somebody that knows things can get done, but even you are going to be
I
surprised.
want this country, you know, you say your slogans are Make America Great. You know what? I want those 95 million Americans working again, Mr. Trump.
Right.
I want those 46 million Americans off of food stamps and participating and reaching their potential in life. I want 50 million Americans out of poverty, and I want to take our place on the world stage and push back evil like in Iran, and Vladimir Putin is now filling every void because we've gotten off the world stage. It's scary.
Well, he's having a field day because he's competing with people that aren't in his class. They're not leaders, and they're not, you know, they don't look. We have. How did these people get there? How did they get there? So we have a group of people, including our president, that you look at Secretary Kerry. How about the deal he makes with Iran? I mean, who would make a deal like this? And he leaves the room, and they go outside, and they start saying that, you know, death to America, death to Israel, death to everybody. And then we continue to negotiate. Who would do this? So the people are tired of it.
You said,
hey, Sean, one of the questions that they asked, what's the biggest surprise? Well, first of all, I found the press to be very dishonest. And I know that, but I mean, I didn't realize to the extent. But the press is really, really
it's
evil.
awful. It really is. It's so bad.
Oh, it's so evil. It's like, for instance, if I have 20 great polls and one that's off, they'll only put the one that's off in there. It's incredible.
It's all true. I've seen it my whole life.
It's incredible. So I found that to be, and not everybody. There's 30% that are fine. There's 10 or 15% that are phenomenal people. Okay,
yeah.
You happen to be among them, but that's okay. But there, you know, I met some incredible people in the media. But overall, I mean, you could say 50% of the media is so knowingly.
You know what I said in 2008? Journalism died in America. Right. And I said it because nobody would cover. I had conservative leaders calling me one after another telling me I was destroying my career by looking into Obama's background of Alinsky and Flager and Reverend Wright and Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dorn. I said, well, if I ruin my career, then so be it. Let me ask you a quick question. What do you think of Hillary last week? And you said this weekend that you have no doubt you could crush her. Explain.
Well, I think I'll do fantastically against her, and I actually want to run against her. You know, I guess they say there's still a race. I don't think there's probably much of a race because I don't take Sanders too seriously, although he does get pretty good crowds. So let's see what happens. You never know in politics, and frankly, you never know in life. But I would love to run against Hillary, and I think, frankly, she came out pretty good. One of the reasons she came out good, because I think the press was extremely good to her, generally speaking. It did come out certain really bad things, like a call for help of 500 or 600 times. And
well, she also lied. She was telling her own daughter and telling the Egyptian president, Libyan president, it had nothing to do with the YouTube video. It was a terrorist attack. At the same time, she was telling the American people the opposite.
Yeah.
So she was lying. All right, last question. We got a big debate Wednesday.
Right.
Well, we're going to expect anything different.
Well, we have a lot of debates. I mean, these debates, they're all the time. I just heard today how many we have, like 10 or 12. And I'm saying, why so many? I mean, at what point do you keep doing these things? And I've liked them. I've enjoyed doing them. I've actually, all of those online polls, like Drudge, he is such an amazing guy. But the Drudge poll and the Time Magazine and Slate and everybody, they've all given me the highest mark for the debate. But, we have a lot of debates. I mean, we're going to have, I think, 10 or 12 debates.
By the way, that's half of what it was last time.
Well, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, then I shouldn't complain. But the Democrats have 6.
I know.
And I think actually 6 is maybe the right number, if you want to know the truth.
But six debates with Hillary will put anybody to sleep.
Well, it was not the most exciting thing last time, but it's one of those things.
I actually tweeted during the middle of it when I was bored out of my skull. I said they need Donald Trump there to liven this sucker up. But
I heard you did, and that was all of it. Everybody picked up that tweet. I heard that, and a lot of people picked it up, Sean. But, hey, look, it is what it is.
Hopefully we'll see it. We're doing the show right after the debate, and I hope you can come on with us on Wednesday night.
I will do that. I will try very hard, okay?
All right, Mr. Trump, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean.